My child, listen with your whole spirit, because this message reaches you in a moment heaven itself has carved out for you. You did not tap this by accident. You were guided. Your heart was nudged. Your spirit was pulled. And Archangel Michael himself has been stirring the air around your life to bring you here right now, in this sacred minute. Open your heart. Still your mind. What I'm about to reveal is tied to someone who walked close to you. Closer than a sister, closer than a friend, close enough for you to let her near your thoughts, your habits, and the private corners of your spirit. She wore the face of trust. She spoke with the tone of care, and you believed her because her mask was gentle. But my child, hear me clearly. Not all darkness arrives with claws. Some darkness arrives smiling. This woman, yes, the very one who pretended to stand beside you, has now reached her breaking point. Even as you read this, she is sitting alone, trembling, clutching a report that has destroyed the illusion she built around herself. Her breath is shattering inside her chest. Her hands shake so violently she cannot steady the pages. What she is reading has ripped the confidence from her bones and left her face pale with terror. She keeps rereading the words, praying they'll rearrange, begging heaven for a different truth. But heaven is silent to her, because the consequences she thought would never come have arrived today. And child, this revelation is not placed before you to frighten you, but to awaken you. Your heart has been protected. Your spirit has been shielded. God has been watching the whole time. And now, in this divine hour, you are finally ready to see what was hidden. You said, less final. She is desperate for a different outcome, bargaining with reality. But the paper refuses to lie. My child, hear this with the urgency of a heartbeat, because these words are reaching you in a sacred minute. Heaven-timed, not accidental. She is desperate now, begging, bargaining with reality like a drowning woman reaching for air that isn't there. She wants a different outcome, but the paper in her trembling hands refuses to lie. The truth sits before her in cold black and white, unforgiving, unmoving, a judgment she cannot charm, bribe, or manipulate her way out of. She is facing a reality that not even influence, money, or pride can rewrite. And child, listen closely. Her body is failing, but nature did not choose this for her. This did not arrive because it was time. This is not destiny. This is consequence. What is happening inside her is the harvest of a seed she planted with her own hands. The same hands that once reached toward your downfall. The same hands that pretended to lift you up while secretly trying to drag your spirit low. Her condition didn't bloom overnight. It didn't bloom in a month. It began the exact moment she attempted to harm you. She never imagined the trap she built for you would become the cage she now sits inside. She believed herself the hunter, but heaven saw her becoming prey to her own intentions. She never thought the energy she launched toward you would return and cling to her like a shadow she cannot outrun. But child, spiritual laws do not bend for anyone. Not for charm. Not for manipulation. Not for hidden jealousy. Pause for a moment. Feel the weight of this revelation. Feel how your spirit vibrates when truth brushes against it. If your heart knows this message is yours, if something inside you whispers, "This is for me," let your spirit acknowledge it. Declare your awareness. Declare your awakening. 3 years, my child. 3 long, silent years. While she walked proudly, believing she had succeeded, something else was growing inside her. Something she never saw coming. My child, stay with me. Feel how your spirit tightens as this truth unfolds, because heaven is pulling back the veil piece by piece. For 3 long years, something inside her was shifting, forming, building itself into the very reality she faces today. While she smiled at you, this thing rooted itself deeper. While she plotted against you, this condition strengthened. She believed she had escaped judgment, lived confidently inside a lie, never realizing her own body was keeping the score. But before you ask, who is she? What exactly did she do? Understand this first. Her intentions were not accidental, not emotional, not a moment of weakness. No, my child, she planned this. Quietly, carefully, calculated like a puzzle only she understood. She invested energy into your downfall, energy she should have used to heal herself. The envy she held toward you was not small. It was deep, hidden behind practiced smiles and polished words. She mastered deception. She showed you one face while hiding another in her heart. When she complimented you, she was secretly condemning you. When she pretended to support you, she quietly wished for everything in your life to collapse. Each blessing you received felt to her like a wound. Each success of yours felt like a threat. Your rise made her bitterness grow roots, thick and poisonous, twisting deeper into her spirit. Instead of healing her jealousy, she fed it. Instead of releasing resentment, she held it close like a treasure. She nurtured her hatred like a garden she hoped would bloom against you. And then, she began to study you, not with admiration but with intention. She became a student of your life for the wrong reasons. She watched how you moved, the scents you wore, the routines you lived by. She memorized the smallest details, your habits, your rhythms, your patterns, hoping to find a weakness, an opening, a place to slip her poison in. But while she watched you, child, heaven was watching her. Every thought, every whisper, every hidden plan buried behind her eyes. She believed her silence made her safe. She believed subtle destruction left no trace. She believed spiritual laws could be tricked. But nothing is hidden from divine sight. What she prepared for you was not mild, not petty, not innocent. It was not gossip, not rumors, not lies whispered through jealous lips. She crafted something meant to end something vital in your life, something she believed would create a permanent stop to your progress. And she thought she found the perfect method. She thought the cause would never be traced. She thought the damage would never point back to her. But child, heaven had already seen everything. My child, listen, because what comes next is the moment heaven turned the entire story around. She wanted a method that could never be traced back to her. A slow, silent breaking. She wanted you to crumble little by little while she sat at a distance, pretending to be shocked, pretending to worry, pretending to care. She wanted to play the concerned friend, while secretly being the architect of your suffering. But she never knew that every thought she whispered in the darkness was echoing into a realm she could not see. Every step was being counted. Every intention was being weighed. Every hidden action recorded in a place where no lie survives the light. She was writing her own judgment with her own hands. Heaven watched her choose the path of destruction. Heaven watched her prepare something deadly and smile as if she had already won. Heaven watched her lift her hand against a child who was never unprotected. And then, my child, the turning point, the moment she believed she had won, was the moment she lost everything. Stay with me, because what comes next reveals why you are still standing. She carried out her plan with a precision that would send chills through your bones if you had seen it. She truly believed this was the day she would finally gain control over your life. The day she would see you weaken, The day she could pretend to be heartbroken while secretly celebrating inside. She walked into the situation thinking she was clever, thinking she was untouchable, believing she was smarter than the very laws that govern the unseen world. She believed silence would protect her. She believed secrecy would sanctify her. She believed careful planning would erase consequences. She sat there waiting for the signs of your downfall, waiting for the fruit of her dark labor, completely unaware that the atmosphere had already turned against her. Because, child, nothing she created for you ever touched you. Not even the edge of it grazed your destiny. Not because she failed, not because she slipped, but because heaven interfered, powerfully, divinely, without hesitation. You were protected long before her thoughts even formed, shielded by a covering she could not see, guarded by a fortress she could not penetrate. She tried to fight a physical battle against a spiritual fortress, and she never stood a chance. What she purchased, what she prepared, what she attempted to transfer into your life, reversed the very moment she tried to deliver it. She ignored one spiritual law. When you dig a pit for the righteous, you fall into it yourself. She didn't feel the shift when it happened. She didn't sense the danger wrapping around her own life. She didn't see the energy she sent out curling back toward her like a storm. And then it attached to her, quietly, subtly, like a parasite in the unseen realm, invisible to human eyes, but unmistakably real to heaven. It happened through the smallest particles she didn't even notice. My child, hear this with the trembling urgency of heaven, because what happened next was so small, so subtle, she never even knew the moment her fate was sealed. It was a touch she believed was harmless, a moment she dismissed as nothing. But in the spiritual realm, that moment was everything. In that split second, when she handled the weapon meant for you, she unknowingly signed a contract with destruction, a contract she could never cancel. She wiped her hands and walked away thinking she was victorious, thinking she was untouchable. But heaven had already shifted the path beneath her feet. For 3 years, 3 long, invisible, silent years, what she intended for your destruction has been unraveling her from the inside. Cell by cell, fiber by fiber, breath by breath. She thought judgment only arrives with thunder. She thought destruction comes loudly. She thought silence meant safety. But my child, judgment often arrives quietly, a creeping, crawling silence that devours from within. And today, this very day, the silence has ended. Her strength is draining faster than she can process. Her vitality is slipping through her fingers like sand. The debt she incurred 3 years ago has arrived at her door, demanding full payment. As she holds that report, trembling, broken, gasping under the weight of her own choices, reality crashes over her like a wave she cannot escape. Her eyes are swollen from crying, not because she hurt you, but because she now realizes she destroyed herself in the process. For the first time, she sees the true face of the darkness she partnered with. For the first time, she understands the enemy she welcomed had no loyalty. The trap she set for you has snapped shut on her own ankle. You may ask, why now? Why this timeline? Why these 3 years? Why you were kept in the dark until today? Listen closely, my child. Her suffering is not for your satisfaction. It is not for revenge. It is not for entertainment. It is a warning, a revelation, a sign. A divine reminder of how deeply, how fiercely, how relentlessly you are protected. Everything she crafted was blocked. Every scheme she planned was dismantled. Every arrow she released was intercepted before it could even reach your shadow. You were never in danger. Not for a moment. not even for a breath. Your life is guarded in ways you cannot see, protected in ways your mind cannot fathom. You are surrounded by forces that never sleep, standing watch while you rise, while you rest, while you breathe. Now, my child, we move deeper into the revelation. My child, hear this with the urgency of heaven, because what happened next was so small she never even felt it. A touch, a moment, a whisper of contact she dismissed as nothing. Yet in the unseen realm, that moment was everything. The instant her fingers brushed the weapon she crafted for your downfall, her fate was sealed. She walked away wiping her hands, believing she was victorious. She had no idea she had just signed a contract with destruction that no prayer, no manipulation, no lie could ever cancel. For 3 years, 3 silent, creeping, merciless years, what she meant for your death has been undoing her from the inside. Cell by cell, fiber by fiber, breath by breath. She thought she escaped judgment because lightning didn't strike immediately. But judgment doesn't always roar. Sometimes it arrives like a quiet tide that swallows you before you realize you're drowning. And today, this very day, that tide has risen. Her strength is fading faster than she can deny. Her vitality is slipping through her fingers like water. The debt she created 3 years ago has returned to her doorstep, demanding payment in full. She stares at that report, shaking, truth crashing over her like a wave she cannot swim through. Her eyes are swollen from crying. Her chest is tight with regret. Not regret for hurting you, but regret because she finally sees she destroyed herself. For the first time, the darkness she played with has shown its real face. And it is not her friend. It never was. The enemy she partnered with had no loyalty, and the trap she built has snapped shut on her own ankle. But listen, my child, before you wonder why now, why 3 years? Hear this truth. Her suffering is not for your pleasure. It is for your understanding. It is a sign, a warning, a revelation, a divine reminder of how fiercely you are protected. You did not even know the battle was happening, but heaven was fighting for you. Every scheme she built collapsed. Every arrow she crafted was intercepted. Every curse she whispered died before it could touch your shadow. You were never in danger. Not for a second. Not for a heartbeat. Your life has been guarded by forces you cannot see. Angels standing watch while you sleep, while you rise, while you walk through the world unaware of the storms heaven has already silenced. Now, my child, we go deeper into what heaven wants you to understand next. Hear me, my child, for this is a moment you cannot ignore. Heaven says you have minutes, not days, to understand what has unfolded. Your heart must hear this now. She thought it was nothing. A tiny touch, a harmless moment, so small she didn't even feel the shift. But heaven saw it. Archangel Michael stood witness. That single second where she handled the weapon meant for you became the contract that sealed her own destiny. For 3 long years, while you slept, while you cried, while you prayed, what she meant to destroy you has been destroying her. Quietly, cell by cell, breath by breath. She walked around thinking she escaped judgment, believing that because lightning didn't strike instantly, God had overlooked her deed. But judgment doesn't always arrive as thunder. Sometimes it crawls silently through the soul until the day it can no longer hide. And that day is today. Her strength is draining faster than she can accept. Her body is failing, her spirit collapsing, her tears choking her as she holds the report that exposes everything she tried to bury. She is drowning in the tide she created with her own hands. Her guilt is not the guilt of hurting you, It is the horror of realizing she destroyed herself in the process. Now she finally sees the truth. The darkness she partnered with was never her friend. The trap she set snapped shut around her own ankle. And heaven allowed you to witness this moment not for revenge, but for revelation. Listen, my beloved. Look with understanding, not pride. This is a sign of how completely God has protected you. What she crafted was blocked. What she whispered was dismantled. What she planned was intercepted before it even touched your shadow. You were never in danger, not for a second. Archangel Michael stood guard when you didn't even know war existed. Your life has been surrounded by divine protection so strong that the weapons formed against you collapsed before they could breathe. Now breathe, because what comes next is the piercing truth. She was not always your enemy. Once, she admired you. She saw the light in you, the grace on you, the strength she could not create within herself. But admiration without self-love becomes comparison. Comparison becomes envy. Envy becomes resentment. And resentment becomes a darkness that seeks to destroy what it cannot become. She studied you not to learn, but to find weakness. She smiled at you with lips that hid a storm. She walked close, too close, and that closeness poisoned her heart. Her downfall did not begin with hatred. It began the moment she believed she deserved your life, your peace, your favor. That twisted desire opened a spiritual door she was never prepared to pay for. And now, my child, payment has come. Let this moment settle in your spirit. You are divinely protected. You are chosen. You are carried. What was meant for your destruction has become the proof of your destiny. Heaven fights for you. God guards you. Archangel Michael goes before you. And nothing crafted in secret can stand against the one whose steps are ordered by the Most High. My child, listen, because this revelation comes with urgency. Heaven is speaking to your spirit right now. She didn't watch you out of love. She watched you out of calculation. She memorized your mornings, your routines, your precious little habits the way only someone close to your heart could. She gathered every detail like a thief preparing a blueprint, not to support you, but to strike where you were softest. And yet, before she crossed the final line, something powerful happened. Something that cut her pride like a blade. 3 years ago, heaven lifted you. Your name was spoken in a room she thought belonged to her. A blessing with your name on it arrived, and the moment it touched your life, her spirit snapped. Instead of celebrating you like a sister, like a friend, she felt small, unseen, overshadowed by the light God placed on your shoulders. Humiliation became her poison. Jealousy became her food. Bitterness became her home. And bitterness, when fed, transforms into darkness. She told herself lies to justify what she planned. She whispered, "They don't know the real you." She said you were lucky, not chosen. She created stories in her mind where she was the victim and you were the thief of her blessings. But you were never the thief. God simply gave you what belonged to you, and that truth broke her. On a day when she felt especially overlooked, when your light felt too bright and her shadow felt too heavy, she made her decision. She would dim you herself. Child, remember this. Jealousy rarely comes from strangers. It hides in familiar faces. If you have ever sensed tension from someone close, trust that feeling. Your spirit speaks faster than your mind. Say it now with your own voice. I trust my discernment. I'm watching my circle. Because what she did next was not an accident. It was intention. It was calculation. It was spiritual rebellion. She obtained something harmful, silent, invisible, impossible to detect. The kind of weapon cowards choose. She wanted your downfall to look natural, like life was quietly draining you. She wanted people to blame circumstances, not her hands. So she targeted something personal, something you touch daily, something close to your body, close to your heart. She believed this was the perfect plan. She believed she had finally outsmarted heaven. She believed God would not see her. But Archangel Michael was already standing between you and the weapon. The moment she touched it, the moment her fingers brushed the thing she meant to harm you with, divine protection reversed the direction. The spiritual wall around you was not weak, not cracked, not passive. It was alive. It was watching. It moved instantly. What she attempted to send toward you recoiled back into her own hands. And that, my child, is the moment her fate shifted. The moment judgment began. The moment heaven marked the separation between the protected and the deceived. She did not break you. She broke herself trying to reach you. You are loved. You are guarded. You are carried in God's hands. And heaven does not sleep. This is your wake-up call. Your spirit needed to hear this today. Your circle will shift. Your eyes will open. Your protection will tighten. Because the Most High is not just watching you. He is fighting for you. My child, listen with your spirit. Because what I'm about to reveal carries heaven's urgency. Minutes matter. The veil is thin today. When she reached for that weapon, when her fingers brushed the thing she meant to poison your life with, the spiritual realm moved instantly. A shield you didn't even know existed rose up around you like the wings of Archangel Michael himself. Heaven intervened in a single silent breath. And in that moment, while she believed she was preparing your downfall, a tiny fraction of what she handled slipped onto her own skin. She didn't feel it. She didn't notice it. She wiped her hands like it was nothing. But heaven had already marked the moment. That nothing became the seed of her unraveling. Weeks passed. Months passed. She walked freely, thinking she had succeeded, thinking she had escaped God's eyes, thinking she had defeated the one thing she did not understand, your divine protection. But consequences do not shout. They grow in silence. 3 years later, she is trembling under the weight of her own choices. Life is slipping from her fingers, not because of fate, not because of chance, but because she touched something she never should have touched. She feels fear now, a fear she can't name, because deep down she knows this is the shadow of her own actions returning home. While she sinks into what she created, you must see the truth of what heaven is showing you. Not to scare your heart, but to awaken it. You were protected. Every weapon she crafted shattered before reaching you. Every intention she whispered was intercepted. Every shadow she cast was blocked by the hand of God. And now heaven reveals this to you for a reason. You are entering a season where masks will fall, where the truth about people in your past will rise to the surface, where you will finally understand why certain friendships died suddenly, certain doors closed with no explanation, certain faces felt wrong even when their words sounded right, certain rooms drained your energy, certain people pulled away without telling you why. Your spirit has been whispering warnings for years, and now heaven is confirming them. Because for the last 3 years, something invisible followed you. Not her weapon, but the cloud of her hatred. Her jealousy pushed against your destiny like a storm trying to drown your light. That's why some days felt heavy without reason. That's why some nights ended in tears you couldn't explain. That's why your chest felt tight even when nothing was wrong. These were not random. They were the echoes of a battle taking place around you. And even then, my child, you were covered. You were guarded. You were held. When you were on your knees, Heaven stood behind you like an unshakable army. When you were weak, angels fought on your behalf. When you felt alone, God Himself wrapped His hand around your heart. You survived because you are chosen. You survived because your mother's prayers, your grandmother's tears, your own whispered, "God, please," reached heaven before danger ever did. You survived because Archangel Michael was assigned to your journey long before your enemies knew your name. If you want me to continue and rewrite the next part, send it. My child, those mornings when you awoke suddenly, as if someone called your name, but no one was there, that was not fear. That was not coincidence. That was divine intervention. A presence from heaven, pulling you back from harm, covering you, shielding your spirit from what tried to slip into your dreams. Now, the weight of her plan has lifted. The dark cloud that followed you is gone. The spiritual delay that held your blessings back has vanished. The hidden interference that slowed your progress is dissolving before your eyes. Watch closely. Heaven is shifting the timing of your life. What was blocked will open. What was delayed will move. Where she meant destruction, God brings restoration. Where she sought your downfall, God brings breakthrough. In the coming weeks, you will witness divine compensation. Every blessing that was delayed is arriving quicker than your mind expects. Every promise blocked is unlocked at once. You survived spiritual warfare that should have broken you. And because you endured, you will be rewarded openly. What was meant to destroy you will become the reason you rise. What was meant to break you will elevate you. Look for these 3 signs that your new season has begun. Sudden peace. Your spirit will feel light, your mind quiet, your heart calm. Doors opening effortlessly. What you struggled to achieve will fall into place without resistance. A person of clean heart and good intentions will enter your life, playing a key role in your next season. My child, you are stepping into a season where God Himself is handling everything for you. You do not have to fight every battle. You do not have to stress over every problem. While you rest, He fights. While you sleep, He protects. Your tears were not wasted. Your pain was not ignored. Your endurance has been seen by heaven. You survived what was designed to end you. Now you will thrive in ways you never imagined. If this truth resonates in your heart, do not let this moment pass. Declare it, "I claim my restoration," and let the shift begin. You are protected, you are chosen, and you are rising.